Appropriate to have the college football hour. Boise State opened camp today over at the Chevrolet Field. Bob Behler sitting in for the vacationing Johnny Ballgame alongside Mike Prater and across the glass from JP. Good to see the team out there. Hank Bachmeier is our subject here in the first part of the college football hour. George Halani will be coming up around 4:15. And I think Boise State is in kind of a unique position. I don't think there's too many teams out there, Prater, that have a 4-year starter at quarterback.
That's certainly not the trend. That's not the rage in college football anymore. If you're a good quarterback, you're gone after a couple of different years. And if you're an average quarterback, they don't really talk about you. But that's not the way it is around here. Hank Bachmeier is a 4-year starter. Boise State's been blessed with a lot of 4-year starters. I think that's a good thing. You know, There's nothing wrong with getting a 4-year starter. Not everybody needs to rush off to the National Football League after a couple of great seasons in college football. So I think Hank Bachmeier is perfect for this program. He's not the perfect quarterback. He comes with wrinkles and issues and red flags, and he knows that. He knows how important this year is. In talking to Andy Peters, his former quarterback, his roommate, very, very close friend who's now at College of Idaho, talking about how important college football is to Hank. The future of the National Football League is important to Hank. I think he's taking this year not that he has in the past, very, very seriously. The focus seemed very sharp today, Bob.
And I also was referring to the fact that you don't see 4-year quarterbacks because if somebody doesn't jump right in to start, they transfer.
Yeah, and Hank's here.
Yeah.
And Hank probably doesn't get the kind of credit for that he should because of the the hiccups that he has in his career. And I get that as a fan. We all get a little jaded like that. But Hank looked sharp today. He acted like he was focused. He prepared for this summer. I think he spent the first 3 years of his college football career just trying to have fun and enjoy the game of football. I think he's upgrading the serious factor quite a bit this year.
By the way, this is our video segment, so if you want to check us out on any of our social media platforms, you can see Prater and myself talk about Hank Bachmeier.
Are you going to show him your legs today, Bob?
I could, but I don't know that it would be
Bob,
that.
Do it.
Oh, no, he's going to do it. Bob's going to do it. Don't pull a hammy, Bob. Don't pull a hammy, Bob.
Man, that's good for at least 4 subscribers, Prater.
Maybe the loss of 4 subscribers. Hey, those aren't bad legs, Bob.
No.
Why don't you show those more? Oh, there they are. There they are. They look good.
Yeah. So Hank Bachmeier, again, coming back for his 4th season, spoke today just about what coming back for a camp as a 4-year starter means and wanting to have some fun.
You know, it's so funny because everybody's ready to go in the morning. All the freshmen are, ready to go, taping up. They're having a lot of fun. And I had so much fun out there. Just, my 4th fall camp, just being out there on the grass. It was a lot of fun. So just seeing everybody, it was awesome.
How sweet is this one? I mean, you look at your career and you lose a season, fall camp because of COVID. And then last year we're still kind of in it. This year, I don't know, do you feel free this year? And what does it feel like being out there?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this was really fun today. I had a lot of fun. Just being out there with the guys, being in the moment, just making plays with the guys was awesome. And, I think it was the first time in a long time that was the full participation from, most of the guys. I remember last year, with Kelvin and stuff, there were some issues. So it was awesome.
For those of you checking out our video segment, the picture that you got of Hank Bachmeier, when you talk about what face and how he looked pretty serious.
Yeah.
You captured it with that photo, Prater.
Yeah, he had a couple of those different photos today. He flashed that face a few times, and that sound bite reminds me that yes, he's still just a kid out there trying to have some fun in football, and maybe that's the magical elixir for a guy like Hank Bachmeier is just the perfect amount of fun, the perfect amount of focus and seriousness, and he kind of pulled that off today. So I had an exchange with him about the summer. Maybe I'm just a little bit off base, but I kind of dove into this summer thinking that Hank was spending a lot of time, working on himself physically, working on himself mentally, clearing himself up. And maybe it's because we didn't have a lot of access to him. He didn't go to media days. He's not going to be a captain, even though he's a 4-year starting quarterback. So there was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of things out there. And here's Hank Bachmeier on his summer.
Yeah, I mean, my priorities were just being the best I could be at football, coming in every single day, building habits that are going to help me into the season with the guys. And then I got away a little bit. I went camping up in Stanley. I did a couple different things. So, had my brother and sister come out, took them kayaking and stuff. So had a lot of fun.
Physically and mentally, do you feel like you're a fourth-year starter and you're in better shape than you've ever been in your entire life?
Yeah, I think this is the biggest I've ever been. And then just mentally, just like I said, that experience has helped out. And being in this offense for the second year has helped out. And I'm really excited. So
You go into the season thinking it's your last one and you have to have these great expectations, or do you think like that?
I've just really been working on coming in every single day and being present at the moment, one practice at a time, one rep at a time, one play at a time. And that's just kind of the way that I've been approaching it.
Hank Bachmeier definitely looked a little thicker today. On the roster, they list him at 210 pounds. I didn't know he was going to go there when he said that he's never been heavier. When he came in as a freshman, he was at 200 pounds. So, 10 pounds, I guess when you're a well-chiseled athlete, is probably a lot. He looks good. He looks thick. He looks fit. He's talking about being the heaviest he's ever been. So 210 pounds is roughly what they're listing him at on the depth or on the roster, Bob.
But I don't think when he's standing there and you're looking at him, you would never say he was heavy. I think maybe you'd say heavier.
A little thicker.
But I think that might be a good description.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hear somebody say that they've never been heavier, and you look at them, you're like, ooh, they do look heavy.
Yeah. When they say you've never looked heavier, Prater, that's different than you've never looked heavier, Hank Bachmeier. There's no doubt about that.
The subject turned to the actual offense as a whole, not just his performance, and he was asked about where he thought the offense might be better this season.
I just think our mindset, our ability to just kind of attack, I really want us to take the next step doing that. And I think that there's some experience, like I said, O-line, running back, backfield, receivers. There's a lot of experience. So a lot of these guys have been to, Mountain West championships, and we've had, a season where we lost a few games. And I think that it's within our habits every single day. And I think that the older guys know that. We're trying to push everybody to be the best that they can.
Do you have goals? Private goals, public goals, personal goals?
Yeah, I want to win a Mountain West championship. I think that's the Boise State football team's goal. And that's what I've just tried to do every single year that I've been here.
That's keeping it simple, Bob.
Yeah.
He just wants to win a Mountain West championship. He's not worrying about academics or a bowl game or doing it with class, all that stuff that they have in the team room. And I'm sure he follows all that. He's a good teammate, has never been accused of otherwise. But keep it simple, dude. Yeah. I want to win a Mountain West championship. And if we can win a Mountain West championship, good things are going to happen. So I thought that was pretty good. And, I'm going to eliminate my conspiracy theories from the summer. And I think he just had a good summer, a typical summer. Tried to get better at football, tried to get away from football just a little bit. And I think his head is clear and he's ready to play some football.
Prater, I think if, let's say we get to the first week in December and Boise State wins the Mountain West championship, if that happens, I firmly believe that Hank Bachmeier's completion percentage will be higher. His touchdowns will be higher. His interceptions will probably either be the same or maybe even a little bit lower.
Yeah.
I think the numbers of what he puts on the board will be what he wants if the big picture at the end is accomplished and they win the league.
Absolutely. And as a fan, you want to hear what he just said. We're going to be attacking, and we're going to be aggressive. They want to be more. And I know a lot of people might roll their eyes, especially after Tim Plow. We don't look at the scoreboard last year until we hit a half 100. That hasn't been uttered at all in a year. And now Hank Bachmeier's out there saying we want to attack, we want to be aggressive. Well, you want this offense with this kind of experience, with these kind of players, and with this kind of skill set. Great skill players across the board. Depth might be a little bit of an issue, and injury issues might be out there lurking above our heads. But everything is in place for this football team right now to have this attacking, aggressive offense. I just need to see it.
And one of the guys that will help the attacking offense will be George Halani, and Hank Bachmeier was asked about him.
Do you guys see what George does? I say that every time you guys ask me that question. He's unbelievable. He's special. And it just brings a different dynamic to the offense. He's special.
What does he do maybe that other backs, either here or other places, don't do?
Yeah, the best way I can explain it is, say you hand the ball off and there's 3 D linemen in the way and it should be a loss of 4. Somehow he gets a yard, and it's just ridiculous how he does that. Those are the ones that I'm like, wow, that should have been a loss of 4 yards, and he got a yard on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I can just see Hank taking the snap under center or maybe being in the shotgun and giving the ball to George and looking at a lot of other colored jerseys there and realizing that he was able to move the pile for one.
Yeah, no, that's true. And George does excel at that. That's and think of the comfort zone, how that would be for a guy like Hank Bachmeier. That's a pretty good little weapon to have.
I wonder if we're going to see Helani more in the pass game this year. They
He's-
haven't thrown. They didn't last year. They didn't throw to the backs a whole lot.
No, and he's proven capable. I mean, 3 years ago he had 25 catches, maybe somewhere in that area, and maybe not quite that high, but 1 or 2 a game for sure. Absolutely.
Wide receivers are big. A lot of new faces having to fill in for Shakir. Steph Cobbs is back with the leading numbers of a returning receiver, and we asked Hank Bachmeier to talk about the receiver group as a whole.
I think that there's still a lot of experience with Davis Static and Billy Bowens out there, and Latrell Caples, a young guy, Bolt. Those are some guys that I think are going to be good playmakers for us, and they did a good job today. So
So how do you, as the veteran quarterback, bring those guys along to develop them as top flight receivers?
I think just throwing them balls and giving them experience and confidence and them getting those reps and those different looks, with different releases versus different techniques versus, the corners is just helping them and throwing them different balls. I think it's just going to help us grow as we head into the season.
There you go. In terms of the wide receivers, and he also has an offensive line that is going to be to his advantage. He's got 2 amazing ends. He's got a new guy in the center, and KHG, who's the old guy, but certainly seems like he's back and ready to do some work with some guard and some depth at guard. So he's got to be the happiest guy in the world right now because of his offensive line. He just needs to take advantage of it. For him, it starts with KHG, who missed last year at center and is back there. He was back there today. And I don't think anybody was smiling more than Hank Bachmeier.
We're from similar area. He's a very physical minded person, but he's awesome to hang around with. I went golf with him like all the time this summer, and I just love being around him because he's just such a laid back, a friendly person. But on the field, he's kind of a dirt dog.
I think that was a bigger miss last year than, every week it seemed like it was, well, we're hoping to get him back soon. We're hoping to get him back soon. And soon never came. I think maybe there was a point where they probably figured, why waste the year? Let's just start again next year.
Yep.
But I think that he was somebody they really counted upon. And I think center is a lot like catcher in baseball. It helps the pitching staff. You also hit, and you're part of the offense as well.
Yep.
I also think because of the 2 positions are unique, I think you either play the position or you don't. And we found that I thought Stets did all right coming in there as a reserve. Farrah was okay as well, but I think it's a tough position to move somebody into.
Yeah, and Farrah looked like he had some backup reps at center today. So, coming over from Texas Tech, he's got some experience. If you have a Power 5 guy backing up your starting center with some pretty good experience in your program as well from last year, that's a pretty good backup. And Will Farrah is going to play both. He'll play all 3 inside positions on this offensive line before the season's over.
And like in the line, somebody's going to get nicked up. They're going to shuffle at some point. If you said, okay, who starts every single game? If you told me, Prater, that we were going to have all 5 offensive linemen start all 12 games, I think I'd rush to Vegas on any team in the country.
Yeah.
I don't know that any team in the country could accomplish that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple every year, but yeah, going in that's asking too much, Bob.
And then Hank was asked about his senior season expectations. It was pointed out by a gentleman sitting to my left that senior quarterbacks at Boise State do pretty well.
Yeah, Coach Plow always talks about just having reverence for the game and just a love and being grateful for the opportunity that you have and a deep honor. And there's a rich tradition and history here of great quarterback play. Going back to him, he's a great guy. I've talked to him a few times. He's around the building every once in a while. But, dating back to him, I mean, there's a rich tradition and history, and that I just want to try to just contribute in any way that I can.
He was mentioning Bart Hendricks. I asked the question, the expectations for Boise State's senior quarterbacks. Bart Hendricks, his senior year, amazing. Ryan Dinwiddie, amazing. Zabransky, amazing. Taylor Tharp, amazing. Kellen Moore, amazing. Joe Southwick, Grant Hedwerk, amazing. Brett Rippon, pretty darn good. Those are senior year quarterbacks at Boise State. Hank Bachmeier, you are on the clock.
And I think a lot of that has to do with also, in addition to all of those guys doing well, having a lot around them and those guys taking advantage of their weapons. And I think that Bachmeier is probably better at that now than he was earlier in his
I would
career.
agree with that.
So, George Helani is going to be maybe the most important weapon And we're going to hear from George Halani next. And don't forget, we've got NFL football coming up this week, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock from Canton, Ohio. Raiders, Jaguars. It's the Hall of Fame game. We've got football ready to go.
I just saw on Twitter the Raiders were walking into the Hall of Fame building, so they're on site. Bob, football is real. We had camp this morning and a live NFL game tomorrow night.
Fantastic.
Woo!
Hard to believe it. August is here, and it's starting with a bang. George Halani when we come back on Sports Radio, The Ticket.